Thank you very much. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It is phase 3, and that's an interesting little walk, but okay, they're in the plane. There we go.
We have a plane.
We have a plane. It's a dead central plane. We've got a lot of new teams, a lot of new players, a lot of new faces. They're going to figure out where and what is happening. They've all played scrims, but when we get to the reality, Richard, things are very, very different.
That's the main point. We don't really know who's going to go where until the actual games unfold. Yes, we can look. Yes, we can do research. Yes, we can presume from the previous phases that have gone past. Scrims, they can be messy. They can just be there for fun, mainly to warm up players' shots more than anything. It's all down to this first individual drop. Do we get any crashes? Do any people decide to take a location? We saw it in phase 2. If you remember back to Reciprocity, they continuously fighted tooth and nail against Vitality. Ironically, who are no longer with us. They're not here, so it kind of came out on top. You'd expect maybe they now go for Minas Generalis and claim what they was taken before. I'll hold on a second and we'll just kind of take a brief pause. Down in the south at the moment, it's looking a little bit busy. ENCE going for a different location to what they would have done in previous iteration of Pro League. Usually you'd see them around the junkyard kind of split Impala. DA.
This is interesting. They used to go Kumasera, right?
That's a three-way split for Kumasera.
They've got Desperados and GamerLegion both in their backyard. This is, and I was trying to figure out whether it was just two people, but clearly, if you look at Mitraleius, the new man on Digital Athletics, I think he's got people sharing his building already. And wow, that's a big northern circle to start things off.
Yeah, that's going to be rough, especially when we actually have the edge of the circle outside of the map, so the player zone will be limited. You go past Oasis and it's kind of it's just a brick wall, really. You ain't going no further than that, than the letters that you see at the top of the map. GamerLegion, Digital Athletics, and Desperados, though. This is a, I mean, don't get me wrong, Kumasera with the upper and lower side to it, you can have two teams splitting there. But certainly with your early games like this and your early maps for this week, it's all about stamping out your ground. You know, there are gentleman rules that will become a factor and a play once we go later down the league. But for now, this is open territory. It's if whoever wants it, come and claim it.
Well, Flex has started has started things off well. I was about to say he's flexing, I guess you could say.
Mitraleius is having a great first game, by the way.
I know,
in the league.
first one to die. I know that's gotta suck. It's gotta suck. And actually, didn't he fly in today? He flew.
I believe
he flew in today.
Everything for his travel plans that he was allowed to play was confirmed today, so in the server and unfortunately straight out of the server.
He's got to sit there for 50 minutes until the next game begins. Sucks, but that's how it is. And it's interesting, obviously, you know, we're talking about the positions of these. That's based off the fact that, if you remember rightly, back in Phase 2, Unity, a team that's no longer with us, was just south of TSM. And we always talked about how much of a strange spread loot it is. Now, if you think about where the plane went, you know, Torre Armada is completely wide open. Nobody's gone there. ENCE kind of skirted down the bottom. Valadolmar completely untouched. So there is a lot of territory that was available off the drops. It was a central plane. But obviously these guys, you know, they've been scrimming for the last couple of weeks. Not always with these 16 teams. You know, sometimes we'd obviously have PELC teams or maybe even open teams slipping through the cracks and getting in towards to scrim with the big boys. But it's a case of, you know, you said it, right? We had the whole Reciprocity Vitality back and forth last time around. This time it is going to be, looks like, GamerLegion. And a team that missed out by 2 points in Minsk?
In Minsk, it was close to the edge.
It was very close. It was very close to qualifying.
We're seeing quite a few teams actually coming up from Minsk now and some individual players that have been... I mean, we had a bit of a giggle about how now we're only one player left from the old alliance. They've all come up throughout each phase. Michael won, and then the next, and then Ziggsy, and now we've got T-Bone up there. So they're all just working their way through.
We keep him more as an observer, though, so he's not allowed.
He's on Ansvar's team.
He's not allowed to, yeah.
He's on Ansvar's team. I'm intrigued to see in game number 2, map number 2, if you want to say, when we go into the next one, if ENCE do keep control of this lower...
Easy.
Is that you?
It's not me, mate. It's not me.
What the hell?
Don't blame me. That's something on stream.
What the hell? Is that like letting players know?
Don't look at me. My phone's on mute, as it always is. But I did have to check because that is a similar alarm. I had to double.
No one warned us if this is going to be a normal thing.
Maybe it's like the warning.
It's the circle
it's
warning.
The circle warning. It is.
Okay.
But it is literally the sound, exact same sound.
I was about to bail as if their fire alarm was going off.
It's the exact same sound as my countdown on my phone, which is why I was like, hang on a minute. did I let my 15-minute timer, so I had to press spacebar? What?
But yeah, speaking about ENCE, if they do decide to completely switch things up, we know that, as I'm speaking, TRYFFELI straight off the back of the bike, more than likely, or the vehicle flip, whatever happened.
Oh, he's the last guy as well. miikaz has got to go back.
Number one was fantastic for them. They completely dominated it. They wrecked house. They won the entire thing. Phase 2, night and day scenario. They were very, very underperforming. Everything seemed to go downhill from the first major that we saw. It wasn't great. And now we need to see some kind of change here, because 4 Finnish players that we know individually are absolutely incredible. What they can put together is fantastic. On a good day, they're brilliant. But on a bad day, it's just all kinds of bad. So we'll see how things go for them. If they do change up drop locations, everyone seemed to figure out how they were playing, or the circles just were very unfavorable for Phase 2.
Their fortune switched in the last week, which is the weird bit, right? They suddenly found
the very
how to
last
play.
week.
Oddly enough, as soon as they were under pressure, and obviously Reciprocity, a team that came through relegation battle and managed to get through the promotions, and that's a hell of a crate right there. But managed to come through very successfully in promotions. That was the fuel that lit the ENCE fire, as it were, and got them back playing, and suddenly realised how to perform. So I'm hoping, as you say, we see a bit of that Phase 1 spur.
The Classic was a night and day scenario, going from winning an entire phase to a main Classic event and then bottling out in group stage. It's like
bubbling above.
That's just
bubbling above relegation for the entire.
You literally
Phase
get a
2.
taste of both worlds, then, don't you? What it's like to be at the top of the table and the bottom. Just really touching on the circle, it's starting to get quite dense in the middle. NIP, TSM, Liquid, the Knights, Raise Your Edge. Everyone was just bombing central at the middle around the water treatment plant. NIP just teetering on the edge of the hillside below them. TSM kind of got in control of it. Raise Your Edge more centralized, but they're not actually. No one's going into water treatment. That's fine, because once you come out of it, it's a spider's web. And if players are just lingering on the hillside, it's basically in a ditch. You are confined to that compound until the late game. If you come out there and you're out alive, then great. But that's why no one's entering at the moment. The main head of action we need to be aware of. At the edge of the circles, to be fair, I think G2's got a read on Reciprocity, who do a complete eastern coastline. They're coming around Campo Militar. G2 will be up there. And this is the other side. On the western side, you've got DESPERADO, who are actually being camped by FaZe Clan, and below them, ENCE, DA, GL. They've all got to make an entry point here, and FaZe could play spoiler and basically bodyguard the entry points on the west.
Some long-range shots back and forth. Look at that, through to the window. Nice shots from... Well, both players connected at the same time. Bolt action. Loving, you can see he's got M24 in his hand. But yeah, FaZe, they've had DESPERADO shadowing the whole time through.
I think he's pushing them. I did see a grenade in hand, so he must have naded Liquid. They have the info clearly, because you mentioned about the return fire.
Well, they knocked each other, but obviously Knights were knocked inside a compound, so they were safe. But yeah, it looks like they've got away with it. So there's the shot still coming in from the Knights. EB's just going to hop on the back with Empty. And the flying Finn will take him to his car. Your Uber has arrived.
So earlier on, Gaxi just jumping on one of the top of the buildings. It's one thing for this phase we have to be aware is that ledge grabbing is a thing compared to the past two. We are on patch 30, so we don't have the full weapon balance yet of the new Erangel. We're not there just yet. But ledge grabbing will play a massive difference in this. The verticality and the nooks and crannies, I want to say, that players can get themselves into, especially on Sanhok. There's some weird and wonderful rafters in some of the buildings you can hard camp if you decide to go down that route. The molly spawns have been increased, though, and that's the one thing you have to be aware on the Sanhok, is when those mollies go in, they will fly up the walls and all of the floors because it is made of wood. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what the players do with that, because all you're doing is you're giving them another tool, you're giving them another ability to make use of. More eyes in the sky, yes, you can get on top of buildings. No, sometimes it can be bad because you're open to sniper fire. You don't have that hard cover that you need. Circle comes in. Oasis will probably still keep people away from that northern edge.
So if you think back to Phase 2, we had a whole lot of finishes in and around the water treatment area, be it where the Knights are, which is probably why they occupied that compound, because it has been a compound that's it's fallen to, or the valley nearby. Now it looks like it's gone a little bit further north this time around. FaZe, who actually I thought had a pretty good compound, they've chose to go a little bit more central, so you can see they're diving in the hill. That's actually opened up the edge of the circle, because GamerLegion, DESPERADO and ENCE were all stacking up behind them, so that's opened up an ability. Meanwhile, Empty taking a couple of shots onto the Knights. It's the Knights back and forward. They keep trading. They're in this 2-2 at the moment. James is kind of off in his own a little bit, but you can see in the distance it's starting to get a little messy. TSM looks like they might crash into Raise Your Edge. I can see them in the distance there going, looks like in towards the same compound. They certainly do have gone straight into them. Gustav will get Coldamenta down. That's his first game for Raise Your Edge, but he's already been flushed down. Meanwhile, we're seeing James actually getting knocked by Timmy from CrowCrowd. So back and forward, you can see it in the picture-in-picture going on there. A lot of action. TSM should be able to get the revive down, but they've got to be careful of the nades coming out from Raise Your Edge here on mxey.
There's one roster that I'm excited to see perform so far. We saw that, yes, TSM has been good. They've always just been that one notch away from greatness. A couple of points, unfortunately, between them and the last Classic in their attendance. The Knights just pulled a stonking finish on the final day to pit them out to it. But certainly with Ira, it's a huge pickup. And there's no disrespect to Wookie Bookie. The man is a machine, and he can hit a head with a bolt action from an incredible distance. But I think Ira just provides a little bit more firepower that TSM needed.
Oh, mxey. That's the two boys from Raise Your Edge. mxey is separated from the rest of the team, so that nade will certainly bleed him out. He's going to get no support there anymore. So Raise Your Edge look like they might be down to 2. Which honestly, to me, does look like an impressive lineup. Obviously, Chris has had to step out of Phase 3, so he wasn't able to take part. Obviously, had a couple of illness before, so interested to see how that new lineup is going to step up. Now, the Knights, we just saw them trading a lot of shots with Liquid. A very ballsy move to rotate into this position. They are just below Na'Vi, and you can see, obviously, they saw the whole TSM and Raise Your Edge battle going on. And Team Liquid, conversely, have moved into the back position that Pittsburgh Knights have just vacated. And it looks like they might get a crate, but I think that's going to be between them and DA, so no man's land for that.
With the confirmation that comes through the kill, that gives TSM the info that they need, that they are down to 2. If they really want to make a push on that, they have to be extremely careful on their approach, because there's a small open gap on the roadside to get to the opposing side. But they can go deeper into the circle if they need to take control of that. Raise Your Edge. It's a dangerous one to go into no man's land, especially when Ira just pips you at that distance in the back. It all comes down to SIMSY. Got to be careful here, buddy. You are in a rock and a hard place.
Manages to get inside the shack. He should be safe. He'll get mxey back on his feet. But yeah, so Iro in the TSM colours landing a cracking shot down the road there. You can see NOP were also lighting up the vehicles as they tried to move in. N47 just moving into the edge of water treatment. Meanwhile, up in Oasis, reciprocity up and around the Oasis area as the circle comes in. You can see ENCE finally come in. They took a big northern swing around La Cabrera and G2, as they have often done, playing on the edge of the circle with their 2 new members. The circle centers up, which is very good for everyone that repositioned, the likes of the Knights, who went for that ballsy play, and NIP, they're looking great on their little crossroads position.
Raise Your Edge is still very... It's going to be hard for them. I understand the play here. Disconnect from TSM, let them have their compound, and then move into a smaller one that's harder to breach. There's only a 2-man ban there, so you want to... It's strength in numbers, right? When you're down to 50% of your players, you just want to get into a smaller area where it's not as easy to turn up. You'll be able to see them on the roadside, see them through the windows. There aren't any 2 big priority compounds that teams will be crashing into. N47 could be the team that makes that play. I get what they're doing. It was dangerous by losing mxey at that point. It kind of paid off now because they are further down in the circle. They don't have to rotate. They don't have to move. If N47 do turn up and take it from them, though, that's the problem, because you're going up against a 4 versus 2 scenario. TSM and 7, though, that's the problem for N47. They're kind of locking them back. So as they come down on the approach there, they could be damaged. Raise Your Edge could take full advantage of that. We still have this weird and wonderful kind of picture going on over the west where Desperados are still continuously moving, not entering too many fights, can't really find a foothold, but they're not in any dangerous position. They're on the backside of a hillside where they're completely away from harm or reach of FaZe Clan anyway, shape or form.
It's a DA move. It's a DA move. They're just sending it. They're sending it anywhere, but it looks like they're getting picked apart. Everybody taking shots on them. Sixmo goes down, a beautiful death of Mert. It's going to be the Knights compound that they crash into, but look at how much third party is going on here. There's tracer fire from every single direction. Reels will get one, Snark will get the other, and that is DA going down 16th in game 1.
First team to lose a player, first team to go out. They'll have to go back to the drawing board after this and decide, do we want to stick where we are now? We've got 2 teams that are basically fighting for our position, because that's the next issue for them. Every time they go down, they could be lacking bullets, bandages, weapons, any kind of gear. When you're fighting off the back foot like that, and you're looking, oh Christ, we've got 2 teams, one to us north, one to us south. what do we do? They lost a player instantly by doing that to an UMP of all things, which is
we don't
not
know.
much of a gun.
We don't know how much of it is based off teams reposition based off the plane. Obviously, if they come from the north, maybe they go from a different position, but from the south, they certainly clashed. Here's the basically the pylon. Look at the trace of fire. TSM getting involved. The Na'Vi down low. I think it was maybe TSM from down low, as well as the Liquid guys. Liquid, by the way, where the hell have they gone?
Yannis finds ubah. Ubah actually.
Oh, okay, they've shifted round, but they're below CrowCrowd now. They've shifted round to the western side, southwestern edge of the circle.
Oh,
TomiL.
Welcome to the party, my friend.
Ooh.
With the Norwegians versus the Finns here. I'm seeing 2 grenades being cycled. TRYFFELI and Rustanmar have his angle. This should be the end of TomiL. Goes up in a ball of smoke. Might be decent, though, in terms of not actually dying for the rest of Desperados rather than pulling up to that. So you send the scout out. Yes, you lose 1, but it's better than losing a hell of a lot more. Calvin Klein also from a different angle. I said there was safety at that time from FaZe Clan, but clearly not. SKUIJKE with the follow-up. That's fine. G2 trying to find an angle on this one, at least someplace that's safer than where they are now, because once they come down from the mountains, you've still got that raise your edge position that they took up earlier on. NIP in the major compound just to their left-hand side, excuse me, their right-hand side, and 7 just braying down upon them.
Yeah, they got nowhere to go. They tried to go down the road. NIP took out Chris. That's Yannis gone. 7 guys. So I would say the worst thing they've done is the fact they've turned around and gone back to where they came from. That's basically opened up, and it's give a massive guide to Reciprocity, or war up on the hills watching it all play out. So they're like, okay, there's someone there, there's someone there. It's done the scouting for them. So still interested to see how Reciprocity are going to get out of this hillside. 7 as well, they need to come down. They're on the eastern edge of the hill. N47, they've got 2 in the circle. That's the 2 we were just looking at there. There's now Reciprocity figuring out how they get down, and this is the problem. NIP on the crossroads, in the Barons, getting them down.
Deer's tanked up very hard. I'd be surprised if he survives much longer than this. Scoom, team captain, and his teammate, whoever's left, will be driving off on this. They have to be careful, though, because GamerLegion is still lingering up there.
I tell you what.
At the moment, it's a scrap for points.
It's not good for new players on teams. They're all
no.
They're all going down.
Welcome to the big leagues, boys. N47's got a nice little play here. They're taking a decent ditch. It's better than nothing to play with. The problem is that it's a very bold area. So just be aware, if TSM has grenades, yes, we have seen a little reduction. Heavy reduction in the frag grenades, but if TSM has the grenades and they can throw them across, one knock onto one player from N47 will basically just wake them up. It's okay, boys, commit your utility. Maybe we can pick up some kills here. The bigger problem for N47 is that once this circle moves, they have nowhere to go. They fight Raise Your Edge or they fight TSM, but before that, 7 might hit them in the backlines.
FaZe Clan, we will look at on the hill there. Actually, just got SIMSY down. Team Liquid are creeping up behind FaZe Clan. We'll keep our eye on the map for that one. SKUIJKE.
They commit into this.
Well, GamerLegion has just been ripped apart. I mean, you're running into barrels, right? It's just mow down, scars, barrels, the lot. Everything's going to bring you down. Desperados, you can see them going out the blue. Ultra's going to try and push it, but 2 of them made it. The question is, can they dodge the nades that are coming their way? Meanwhile, G2, they get dispatched off by NIP. NIP are collecting kills at the moment, as are ENCE, as Hamster goes down as well. Team Liquid. Gemty is in the compound on top of FaZe. Now, Ibby does get taken down. That's all happening on the hillside, and you're picturing a picture right here as they creep up on the hill behind them, trying to catch Phase 2 winners off guard with the barrel.
Gemty up close and personal. There's the initial one. Ibby and Samty bleeding out the wayside. He has to be aware, and he's got the footsteps, so he has some sort of information, but he's turned his back, unfortunately. ubah says, thank you very much. That's an easy one for me, no problem. Liquid's gone 14th position to touch back on NIP. That was a very poor choice by G2. They had to run the road. They had all the time in the world to take the hillside. They went the road and run the buildings. Like, these buildings are going to have players in them. Why would you even do that?
That was ubah's molly. I think he meant to drop a smoke.
Oh, okay.
I'll smoke you, mxey. Whoops. Sorry, mate.
Sometimes these things happen, right?
Well, maybe it's just a bit of like, I won the nations, you came 16th.
I mean, look, we can question as much as we want. I'm just really intrigued by that G2 to run the row side when you know there's a major compound there with a team in it. They must have had the info
7
that
have done
NIP
it now.
was there.
7 have crashed them. 7 have gone straight in, but you can see NIP continuing to collect kills. This is working well for them. Now, Reciprocity, look at that. Look at, they're in such a horrible position trying to bounce around those rocks. Meanwhile, Sadovnik, he looks like he's going to fall down. NIP, they are going to get the revive back onto Vard, but I think that's got to be either 7 or 8 kills they've collected already. We're still 36 alive. They are outside the next circle, though, as they catch menox on the way. That's going to be kill number 8. That is some great points for NIP to start with.
Sigzy holding on for dear life. MBS is going to try it. Nope, never mind. They're gone. Bye-bye. Senya sees him. Calvin Klein's hunkering down. Last man alive here for Desperados. He can get the footsteps and he'll have the information. Might be able to catch one in the back, but as soon as he takes this fight, he engages all of FaZe.
No way to
he
go
can catch them in the back, he'll just go for the flush instant. Oh, he's been spotted. Aitzy with the turn. That's a big GG and keeps FaZe alive. That's a good kill for the simple fact that it would have really slowed them down having to get the res. They might not even be able to get it because the blue's moving now. So he keeps them up, he keeps them moving more importantly. Good solid kill. Always
got to check your back, check what's going on. Looking back at the play that the Knights made, you know, they were in that compound that Team Liquid were pressuring on. They chose to go for this compound below Navi. It was a risky play, but it looks like it's paid off really well so far. Same with TSM. Their crash onto Razor Edge has absolutely worked out well. They're in, obviously, the phase now, but now they have to try and work their way up the hill. NIP, they've picked up a lot of kills, but Navi have them dead to rights down the hillside, and that's not an approach you want to see. Gaxi, you're running straight into a doozy. The joint highest fragger, I believe it was, from Phase 1. Tell a lie, it wasn't. It was Kemba and Chris, wasn't it? It's the 2 highest fraggers from Phase 2. Reciprocity gone. No surprises, they were kind of stuck in the hills. Similar to G2. You know, everyone that was the north side of that road has had a problem to get in.
I suppose when you look at G2's different approach, it's just 2 angles. Do you take the cliffs and survive as long as you can, or do you just have a crack at it and hope NIP don't see you? NIP have to pray that they have a ton of smokes. I mean, they're known for holding grenades. They need so much utility to traverse this hillside. They're going to be in a position soon where they can sit and chill. Yes, ENCE will have an angle on them, so if they can cover that one angle, that's fine. Then get into at least where there's just one avenue of approach from an enemy team. Then you're laughing. I'm really struggling with CrowCrowd as well to actually see the old Finn strike on there.
I know, right? It's still
so every time I see Timmy, it's like, yeah, it's a different team, completely CC now. TSM do have to finally come out of the compound they've been in, but it's gone well for them so far. They've been gifted quite a lot of time. Eyebal's the only man standing, I believe, from N47 in the distance, and he has a hell of a lot of ground to cover, so Irish should have him dead to rights. The Knights, they're central, they're good. Navi now just have to protect what they've been gifted.
Yeah, the question is how much of the hill can they cover? Because it is a big territory. They're focusing on a little one side, they got NIP the other side. NIP look like they've chosen to push down low and go towards it. Nades will go back and forward between ENCE. You can see they're going to toss them out. Now, ENCE have a slightly higher ground. That nade was very close to catching Gaxi out there, but it's slightly higher ground, so it does mean they may have a small advantage. Navi, it does give them their attention. They turned onto FaZe. FaZe were trying to push up the hill as Miraku gets a bit of an angle on TRYFFELI. TRYFFELI taken very low, but 7 kills already, 4 for Miraku alone. He's been doing very well. Navi still playing king of the hill and looking to try and pick up more kills.
I really like this stance from NIP. Get aggressive rather than just pussyfooting and sitting back. It's really nice to see teams getting aggressive because they'll have the info that there is potential that ENCE have nowhere else to go. If they go up the hill, they know there's going to be a team in that one compound and they're dead. So they'll force this engagement. They can pressurize and do so much and basically just constrain ENCE into a battle. They have to come out soon, so why not get aggressive and go take it?
CrowCrowd are in a little bit of trouble here. There's only 2 phase members left. That's going to be kill number 6, 7 maybe confirmed. Depends where it goes down. NBS did get TRYFFELI. Now, that's going to work out. NIP are going to push up. Now, NBS was the man down low, and now the rest of NIP are nearby, so that's going to be a flush. Meanwhile, CrowCrowd pushing in. ubah gets around the back side of CrowCrowd as well. See if he has an angle as Vard creeps up the hill. Evil just trying to heal himself through the blue. See how long he can survive. There's one of the nades. That's going to knock them down, and now they're going to push.
It's a bit of a trade-off. Gaxi didn't check the corner, or if he did, miikaz just certainly got the hard side of him. ENCE, as you mentioned, they do have the high ground, but for how long it's a different, they can't go too far because then Navi gets involved. NIP just backing off for a second. ENCE are bleeding out the wayside. They know there's really nothing else they can do. They bide their time. They wait. It's time to strike. They'll be going up over the hills any second now.
Navi are coming down as well. Try and get a piece of it. ENCE, I think, have just been wiped out on the side. NIP, you see them all in the kill feed as Tiikzu, the last man standing for CrowCrowd. Can he get MiseDOG up on his feet? He's going to try. Navi are going looking. Oh, Senya's nade. That could be right on top of 2 CrowCrowd members. It looks like it's going to be pinned perfectly. It's gone a little too far. Won't have the splash range. Now, Fuzzy's dead. down. Can ubah do anything about this? Look at ABeautflDeath on the flank. Gets ubah, gets one.
As well. That's the bigger advantage to this, is they can watch that little engagement unfold, read the information now, how many players are left going. NIP can just pick up the boxes and regroup and get themselves back together again because they have to fight.
Look at Na'Vi. It's so well played. Senya's just marching them around. Got ABeautflDeath with him. They push down, sweep around. Meanwhile, BestLadder holding the back, gets the last player, I think it was, of ENCE there and takes them down. NIP still with 3, though, creeping up the hill, and they haven't dealt with mxey. mxey will finally go down, so CrowCrowd will go out in 5th place. And now Na'Vi, look at they run straight back up the hill because the other threat is from NIP, the other side of the hill, which BestLadder has been holding off.
You see the bait and switch as well. One player just peeks out, lets him go for the engagement, and the second one follows up. Like, their communication must be so on point. Time and time again, it's just 2 duos. You never... That's why it's so hard to take Na'Vi down, because it's never an individual. You might see the odd time where... We'll see pro teams where they'll be snaking, or you'll just see these one players that go for a flank. With Na'Vi, it's always 2. You have to face them head on, and they're so... They don't get over-aggressive. They're not necessarily passive. They'll go find kills, but they like to keep their own borders protected, so to speak. If they know someone's just knocking at the door, they'll go deal with that situation and then fall back as a roster.
Na'Vi got the 6 kills. NIP, I think, are on 10 kills now. Somewhere similar. TSM have got 6 themselves, so some great starts from these guys. And, you know, Knights have kind of kept their heads down for a while. Yeah, 10 kills and counting. Miraku with the 6 kill count. It's pretty impressive, but you can see NIP, they're in trouble now. They've got Na'Vi behind, but do they count on NBS being the man up close? Did they just see him? I think Senya did.
This low ground's actually really good for TSM.
It's buying time for TSM, right?
Yeah, they're out of harm's reach here. People can't see them on this defilade. They need to be careful of NIP. But they're downwind of all this action. And if one team does try and make something of this, like Na'Vi, for example, if they have a peek over the wall, then the Knights might be able to scrape something. All you got to do is, at this stage, when everyone's been in these little micro-engagements, gear's starting to get damaged and wear away slowly but surely. The durability is disappearing. Couple of taps to the helmet and they're gone, and then this is your late game destroyed then. You're in all kinds of trouble if you lose armor.
Where are we going then? Who's going to be the lucky boy? It is on to the Knights. Na'Vi are still going to have that ridge line as well. You can see ABeautflDeath's on it at the moment. The TSM, they're actually pretty happy. Gustav's trying to go low to get a better angle for his team, give that little off-angle position. But it really seems that NIP are the ones that are going to make a play here.
Pick your poison. Which fight do you want to take? Gustav keeps Na'Vi at bay by going all the way down to the south, and then the head of TSM, 3 members, will stick together. They're out of harm's way. When we look towards the Knights, they can't see them.
Vard and Miraku have found a position. They've got into the circle. MBS is the only one now of NIP. They're out there. He's basically just keeping them busy. Vard is creeping up the hill.
Yeah, that's so important to be a distraction point here. Give the information back. ABeautflDeath, though, comes down low, feeds that back. Pokemon actually gets the tab on him, and all of a sudden, everything they tried to build there...
Look at Michael. Michael's charging for it. Michael's going to try and charge around. It's all a case of trying to get that third party, the nades coming in. So Miraku, he's got 6 kills and counting. He's going to have to be the man that tries to rescue Vard. It's not going to happen. Pokemon will finish him off. And now NIP down to 2 as TSM reposition and try and take some advantage of this.
Remember this, surviving to this point came off the back of basically moving out and taking a fight against ENCE earlier on. So they took their position. Through the transfer's fire. That's one connected. He does go down, though, so there is an instant response and a steal. Michael from the backlines. You mentioned the third party. The point gets yoinked. That grenade's pretty good. Does a fair amount of damage. There's no initial knock, so the info won't be there, but they must. They absolutely must. That can't have been a random nade.
No, that was
they have the information for sure.
Ira and Michael chucked a good 100 damage between the two. Now MBS is just going to loot out, smokes down, but now he has all of Na'Vi barreling down on top of him. Does he realize? Do they come around? It's going to be both Senya and ABeautflDeath. They think he's in the left smoke. They feel he's on the blue. He's on the edge of the blue. And they might get third-party help here from TSM. They're going to be pushing over. The ridge comes straight through the smoke. Dissipates. Oh, he doesn't get Senya down. Meanwhile, TSM, that's Gustav engaging down low. Remember, the Knights, they have the center point. We're in phase 9 here, so they need to deal with MBS here.
He's limited on movement.
He's gone down in play zone. Senya. The knock from MBS has forced him back, and he's took a chunk. We're phase 9. The blue absolutely murders you at this phase. So MBS, he's forced all of Na'Vi away.
Michael steps up. There is a transfer there. There was plenty of damage through. He will confirm best to Lodge. And now, because of Gustav's position earlier on, taking this southern position, he's been allowed to get up close and personal. He's at the compound.
Aduzi's completely ignored the fact that MBS is behind him. He's about to come out of the smoke and get a clear shot in the back here. He's going to come over the ridge line, will finally get spotted. It's actually Gustav that takes him down, and TSM doing the job for them. So NIP down in 4th. They got themselves a stack of kills. As of TSM now, 10 kills and counting. Na'Vi have been picked apart on the hillside. Iroh finds himself another target. Did we ever doubt him? That's his first kill for TSM as well. And now they're right on top of the Knights. Gustav, he's down, but he's giving the information all across where they are.
3-on-3 scenario. Rory's trying to clear out these buildings. We've seen flashbangs, mollies, much more utility being used so far, and we're only in game number 1. The question is, do they know how close Snark is? He's the problem. If they overstep their boundaries here and don't check that room, he will stab them in the back so hard.
Good spray. That's Reels, I think it was, that just maybe took a big hit. Iroh trying to hold that angle with an 8-time scope in Phase 9. There's a nade that's gone way too far, though. He basically steps on top of Snark in the other side of the building, just has a little glimpse through the bars.
Does he even have a helmet?
Oh, that nade can't quite get in. The flash trying to force something out there. Snark's the man up close. They need to try and flush him out if they can. Drayden going to get a look around the side. Rory's got nowhere to go. The Blues right on him. He's going to force him. He has to go one way or the other, or the play zone will take him down. You can see they try and force it. Snark's going to get to the window, but he gets a nade straight on him. TSM looking to try and get an angle. Iroh goes down. It's down to a 2-on-2.
Answers back. Real sees him. One more player alive. Michael, rocking a hard place. What can you do? But not so much. Vehicle goes up in smoke. He goes down. And a pretty decent compound engagement all to the final stand. And it's the Knights who come out on top, ironically, the ones that actually sent TSM back in on the very last day of phase number 2.
Well, Drayden some say he does look like a warrior, and he absolutely is. Superb stuff there. TSM, though, what a start for them. Second place, I think it was 12 kills in the end there as well. We're seeing NIP delivering with a 10-kill 4th place, I believe it was. Na'Vi once again up on the hill as dominant as always. Just undone by that little play from MBS.
I mean, not checking it, there was kind of 2 points there. One, how much damage he actually did through the smoke. They both tried to kind of transition one another. It was a mirror image going through the smoke to even get the spray down. He did damage, he survived long enough. But the problem is that their attention was so far drawn. You then saw Gustav say, okay, we'll take advantage of this. We'll get to a point where we can just look uphill. Na'Vi are then split between 3 different teams. They can't come down. You've got the Knights. You can't go one way. You've got MBS on the back line as a lone man. And then you've got TSM who's just pipping you from distance. Like, what can you really do against that?
Very interesting first game here of Phase 3. Obviously, we have a lot of new teams, a lot of new players, a lot of players that have been here before and are in a new team. You know, there's a lot of potential on a lot of these lineups. Obviously, we heard the Des talking about it. You know, Reciprocity looking very strong, but they didn't really show it this time. G2, they were all kept in the dark. If you were the northern side of that road, you were screwed, basically, because NIP were holding that corner compound. Then if you go up the hill a little bit, then you got the Knights. You go up the hill a little bit, you got Na'Vi. So everybody had these clean shots down the road. So anybody that was that side was kind of in trouble.
I think it was really nice from NIP to push onto ENCE to keep, you know, you can't sit back on that angle because ENCE are trapped by Na'Vi. You can't go over the hill.
Well,
if you do, they just see you, you're dead.
They couldn't go left because they had TSM and Knights over here, so they couldn't go that way. So they had to go that way, which forced them to fight ENCE, like you say, and put up with Na'Vi that were shooting on the hill. I'm surprised they kept 4 alive out of that hill. They must have used all the smokes they had.
I mean, even to keep 1 alive at that final engagement, to get them into what, third position? Fourth,
yeah.
Like, to be able to pull that out of the bag when you have to run that gauntlet of everyone initially being able to see you, and they lost one, at least a knock during that transition upside the hill. You then have to commit all your smokes to it. I mean, MBS, they did by getting ENCE down, be able to collect all them. That's what clearly the body boxes were there for, but still a good game and a nice warm-up, at least, for the rest of this.
And it was the Knights. It was the play-in. I think it was Circle 3 where they made the move. They were pressured with Team Liquid. They made the move. They had a good compound, but they went for that lower compound below Na'Vi, and that was the decision that certainly won them the game. Obviously, a lot of shooting in between. Let's have a listen with Parla on the couch.